Hey guys, I'm Kevin, and today we are going to unlock the power of bar chords. Bar chords come in different families, in different shapes, and today I'm going to arm you with the information that's going to help you to cover any type of chord that you might come across in your playing journey. So let's dive in. So you're probably asking yourself, Kevin, why should I spend my time learning bar chords, contorting my hand, hurting my fingers? It just all seems too painful. Well, one reason you should is because bar chords will allow you to play songs in multiple keys, and a lot of those keys have bar chords in them, so it's going to give you a lot of options for playing chords. And the second reason is because it helps you to cover all of the real estate on the neck. If you only play songs using C and G and F down in first position, you never really utilize the rest of the neck, and bar chords allow you to do so. So let's take a look now at our first family of bar chords, the major shapes. We're going to kick things off here with the major family of bar chord shapes. So there's a couple different shapes in the major family, and we're going to start off here with our A shape. So the A chord is played 2nd fret of the G string, 1st fret of the C string, and then we have our 2 open strings. So you'll notice this is not a bar chord. However, I am playing this with my ring finger and my middle finger, and my index finger is free. So something to note about this chord, and this is going to be consistent across all of the bar chords, the starting chord here, A, contains an A note, which is the root of the chord. Now that note is played in 2 different places for this chord. It's played on the 2nd fret of the G string, because we have G, G sharp, A, and we also have our open A string. So wherever this chord is played, the root note dictates the name of the chord. So in this case, it's A. Now if we make this into a bar chord, this note here is going to change. So I take my A chord and I move it up to now be on fret 3 and 2, and I add my bar to the 1st fret. Now this chord is no longer A because I have moved the root from A to the next note over, which is B flat. So I also have a video called Learn the Notes of the Neck that I'll put in the description here so you can learn more about the notes of the neck and how that all correlates to the bar chords. So the cool thing about this shape is this shape can now be moved anywhere on the neck, and wherever your ring finger is, and also wherever the A string note is, that will dictate the name of the chord. So again, it's A. Now it's B flat. We move it up a half step, it's B. We move it up again, and now we have C, C sharp, and D, and so forth down the neck. This is what I was talking about with neck coverage. Now technically, if you learn the top string here, the G string, and learn wherever that note goes, the chord name goes, you can use this shape to play technically any major chord. So that's our first shape using the A major parent shape. The next shape starts off with an F chord. So typically we would play our F like this, 2, 0, 1, 0, and the root note of this chord shape is on our index finger, which is on the E string of the 1st fret, because we have E, and we go up a semitone, and that is F. So again, I play this with my ring and my middle finger to keep my index finger free. So this F chord, if I move the root over 1 fret and I add the bar, now this F note has become F sharp, and that also follows the pattern that this chord will then become F sharp. So it went from F to F sharp. Now it's G, which looks familiar because your G chord lives right within that bar chord. G sharp, A. So that's pretty cool. Now with this you have an A chord. You also had an A chord down here. 2 different sounds using different shapes. And our third and final shape in the major family is the C shape. So our C chord typically would be played here, 3rd fret of the A string. I'm going to replace that with my pinky for this one. We also go back here and we have 2 roots in this. We have our open C, which is just the open C string, and we have our third fret of the A string here, A, B flat, B, C, and again, this will dictate the name of the chord. So when I add the bar to the first fret, everything shifts over one fret. That C chord now becomes D flat because this note is D flat now, and this note is D flat. So again, we make this move. We have our D chord, E flat, E, F. So just with those three shapes there now, if you think about all of the combinations you can use between using these three different shapes, you have a whole lot of options just within your first 5 to 7 frets for playing major chords. So my challenge for you is use these different shapes and try to figure out within maybe the key of C some different bar chord shapes that you can replace your C and your G chord with to play different combinations. And the PDF that I'm going to leave for this video in the description will have a lot of these different combinations for you to try. So make sure you check that out at the link in the description. If you're digging the sound of my uke, head over to AllForUke.com/shop. You can have a Kala ukulele for yourself. When you buy your Kala ukulele through AllForUke, you're supporting us, and we really appreciate it. Make sure you check it out. Concerts, sopranos, tenors, baritones, a wide selection of accessories, capos, and more. All for you, AllForUke.com/shop. So we've got the major family. Let's take a look at the minor family of bar chords. So we start off here with an A minor chord. So the A minor chord is just played 2, 0, 0, 0. And again, just like A major, the minor chord root is on the G string and the A string. So that's going to dictate our shape. So I'm playing this instead of using my middle finger, I'm using my ring finger, and that's going to open up my index finger here to play the bar chord. So I'm going to play my A minor, and when I move that over to the 3rd fret, that A now becomes B flat. So when I put the bar down, the chord is no longer A minor, it is now B flat because I have my 2 B flat roots here. Something else with bar chords, especially when you're just playing one finger in front of it, you can use that 2nd finger to compress the strings down. And I also want to mention, with the bar, try using the side of your finger here versus using the flat part underneath where you have those pads of your skin that are soft and make it harder to bar. And you always want to make sure with bar chords too that every note rings when you play them. If you have dead notes, try to keep readjusting your fingers. Make sure that your thumb pressure is directly behind the bar on the back of the neck. So we go back here, we have B flat minor. We move up. There's a B minor chord, that's a very useful chord. C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, and I'll let you go the rest of the way. Our second shape that we have is using the D minor shape. So D minor is played here, 2, 2, 1, 0, but we're going to swap our fingers because we need our index finger here to make the bar chord. So I'm going to switch that, and I'm going to play with my ring, pinky, and middle finger for the D minor chord. And that frees up my index finger. So this D minor chord, the root exists here on the C string. So we have our open C, C sharp, D. So there's the root, and wherever the root moves, the chord name moves. So as I move this chord over, I have D minor, E flat minor. Here's one that you might know, the E minor chord, which you can see your little E minor shape lives right within that bar chord. F minor, it's a good one. F sharp minor, and G minor. So the very useful shape there. Our third and final minor shape is using the F sharp minor shape. So F sharp minor, we have our root down here on the E string again, E, F, F sharp minor. We would typically play this using middle, index, and ring finger, but we're going to swap that out and play ring, middle, pinky to free up the index finger. So as this chord moves again, we just watch where the root goes. So the root is going to move from F sharp over one semitone, one fret, to G minor, G sharp minor. Here's another A minor chord. That's pretty cool. You have A minor here, A minor here. There's a second option. B flat minor, B minor. So using these shapes now, you can make different minor combinations with the three shapes kind of moving around. So always note where your root is and keep an eye where the bar is and start memorizing that place when you're playing chords. B minor, E minor. You'll find that a lot of them exist right in close proximity to each other when you're playing them in songs and other things, and there's a reason for that. The third family of bar chords that we'll discuss is the dominant 7. So we start off here with a C7 chord. Now take a listen. This is a very unstable and tense chord, and that's why it's called a dominant 7 chord. So you will always see this noted as C7 with nothing in front of it. So for this chord shape, typically I would probably play this with my index finger. But if I want to make this into a movable bar chord shape, I replace that with my middle finger, free up my index finger, and I have to find the root of the chord. So again, for this chord, we have an open C string, and that is the root of the chord. So when we move this chord, anywhere that C string moves, that's where the chord's going to go. So we have C7 here. If we bar the first fret and move our middle finger over to the second fret, now we have a D flat 7. Move over again, we have a D7 chord. E flat 7, E7, F7. So again, moving that shape around just takes this first initial shape and gives you a bunch of different options that you have here for the dominant 7. Our second shape comes from the A7 chord. So A7, again, typically an index finger here on the C string of the first fret. We're going to replace that with our middle finger, free up the index. We find our root, which is where? Yep, it's on the A string, the open A string. So wherever we move, that's where the chord will move. So we have A7 here, we have B flat 7 here, B7, C7. So you have a C7 chord here and a C7 chord here. That's pretty cool. C sharp 7, D7. There's a D7 here and a D7 here, just using two different shapes. So learning these shapes is very valuable. Again, just with those two shapes, you have a whole bunch of different option combos now for the bar chords. Our third dominant 7 shape is going to our G7 chord, which I would typically play like this with middle, index, and ring. Instead, I'm going to play this with ring, middle, and pinky, freeing up the index finger. Our G note here for the root is our open G string. And as I move, this becomes G sharp 7, A7, A sharp 7, or B flat 7, B7, C7. So again, using that shape, you have a bunch of different combinations. Now, I will say this is less likely to be a bar chord shape because with the G7 shape, you don't technically need to bar it because you only need to cover one string. So when you move these 3-finger shapes around, you can actually just play the G string with your index finger. However, my argument for playing with a bar is because if you want to move between bar chords, it's always easier to do that when you already have the bar chord down. You can move in between the shapes just by keeping the index finger down. So I would encourage you to do that. Now with all of these shapes, again, I have a PDF in the description where I will give you different combinations of bar chords to use so that you can practice going between dominant 7 and minor and major shapes, and I'll show you all of the different chord combinations that you have and can use to actually utilize and experience the power of bar chords.
Meet me down by the seaside. We can howl at the moon rise. Watch as the tide strolls in.